It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer Fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington Show.
We're back, baby. It's time for the Andy and Rem Show, episode 196. Who could have guessed it would have taken maybe 6 or 7 months to reach 196 from 195? But strap yourselves in, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be succulent, it's going to be juicy, it's going to be tender. Get ready to remove this thumbnail during the festive season. There we go. We're officially back on people's screens. Welcome, Mr. Remington.
Hello, Mr. Andy 2D6. Isn't it good to be back? Has it really been 7 months?
Almost. I mean, I could check exactly how long it's been if you want.
No. It's
Let me look at the
about
date of the previous episode. Oh my goodness. It was March. That's a really long time.
It is. It is, mate. So much has happened. Yeah, here we go. We're back in business, man.
It's been wildly turbulent times during that period.
Yeah, I almost died. Real.
Well, shall we start off by talking a little bit about what we've been up to then? So if you want to go first, I'm sure you've got quite a wild tale to spin over the last few months.
Well, it did start off with a Warhammer tournament, didn't it? That we both went to. It was amazing. And then we'll come back to that in a bit. But yeah, joined a very famous band, and we went all around the world. And I also had to give up my teaching day job. So now I'm full-time role. But in the process, we were in America. I developed a pulmonary embolism, which for us lay people, the blood developed infection in my lung, collapsed lung, and pneumonia. So I spent a while in hospital, very ill on tour, but I'm just recovering from it now. So one of the ways in which I've been recovering is painting some miniatures and getting back. Age of Sigmar ladder.
So the word on the street, because obviously I hear all the word on the street, is that whatever illness you had going on didn't affect the musical performance whatsoever.
Well, I was coughing a lot and it was really painful. No, I still managed to do all the gigs. And plus, I didn't really want to go into a hospital in the USA. It's not that I wasn't insured. I was worried that the tour would get cancelled and absolute nightmare. So I battled through. And when I got home, I actually felt better. But my wife made me go to the doctors and they realised there was seriously wrong. So, yeah, I went to the hospital and wasn't allowed to leave for a good while. Yeah, so I was in a ward with, people with pneumonia, and some of the coughing and snoring was horrible. Couldn't bear it. But I was so glad to get out of there. I had antibiotics, blood thinners, and all sorts of things, which I've still got to take now.
Yeah, you didn't have double pneumonia, did you?
I don't know what that is.
I believe that's where it's on both lungs, I think.
No, I just had it in one side.
Because I've always thought that double pneumonia always sounded like something that a child would make up on the playground. Like one child would come in and say, I had pneumonia. Yeah, well, I had double pneumonia.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're back and fighting fit now by the look of things.
Yeah, I mean, I knew something was wrong, but I never knew that bad. When you're traveling and you're ill, it's especially when I managed to get through it, and I'm loving playing with the bands I'm playing with, and Yeah, I've not really stopped. I played Manchester O2 Arena last Saturday, my other band. This Saturday, we're playing at London, the Millennium Dome. Big O supporting Manchester's uh, Hull's own Paul Heaton, Billy Bragg.
By the way,
Um,
I'm noticing that your microphone is much better at picking up your voice when you're talking directly at it in front of it.
like now, I should keep doing that then, shall I? But
Yes.
I'll turn this right up there, and then I can't help but talk into it.
Yeah, there you go. And don't go turning your head around left and right while you're mid-sentence, and that should be fine.
Okay, Andy.
Excellent. We have
Bossing
got a packed house in the audience tonight as well, as you'd expect for the grand return. Is this technically season 3? Because we already had one grand come back after a several-year absence. Didn't
Yeah, this is like the third installment.
we? Yeah. So
Could be
let's see who we've got in there. We've got Colin. We've got the Colonel. We've got Bidocus. We've got Dicey Guy. We've got Dave Kitely. We've got some of the familiar legends in there. We've got Owen. We've got, let's see, who else is commenting away. We've got Pale Blue. That might be a new one. Yeah, so if you're watching this live, comment along, because unlike some other live shows, we will interact with our audience. Well, so before the whole illness thing was uncovered, I assume that the world tour was quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. The gigs, I love playing, but that's only a very small part of it. Most of the time, you're traveling, and you're in airports and trains and buses and hotels. So yeah, I had a great time. I mean, I've got to the point now where I don't have to think too much about the playing, so I don't get, and that's fun. It's even more fun that is because I don't get nervous anymore.
Have
And
you mentioned to the audience on this episode which band you're actually in now?
yeah, it's a band called Fun Loving Criminals. The Fun Loving Criminals. They were pretty big in the 90s, and the lead singer left, and they asked me to join instead and to play lead guitar. So it was kind of a big deal. At least it was for me, because they're one of my favorite bands of all time. Um, yeah, they were big shoes to fill. I think I sent you a picture. Maybe you'd like to show them a picture of the band.
You sent me a picture of the band. Did you
Well,
send it
yeah.
just now before we went live?
No, I sent it on the Discord, didn't I? Did
When?
it not work? Oh, Christ. I'll
Well, if you
send
send it to me, I'll try and show it a bit later. I've had a chance to
All right.
set that up. Or you could just
Well,
hold up your phone with it on, I suppose.
yeah, I could do that.
Old school. I hope nothing embarrassing pops up while you're on.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the third gig I did with this band, which was in June, we played to 100,000 people in Poland. We thought it was just this rock festival that we wouldn't be a big deal at because there was all these big metal bands playing. We didn't think we'd go down well, but we did.
So that's the second largest audience you've performed for after this show, of course.
Exactly. Well, maybe the cumulative views of this show beats anything. But yeah, I've got so many pictures, man. Yeah, some good times. Let me show you a definitive.
I'm sure on the band's Facebook, people can see clips of you in action as well, can't they?
Yeah.
I think, is it on the YouTube channel? Isn't there a full concert up on there as well?
You can watch the full concert, yeah. Or you can, that's us there. I don't know, can you see that? Turn that light away a bit. There's the camera. Is that any good?
Can't quite see it. Just send it to me and I'll show the people later. We'll put up a technical difficulties sign across the screen so they can't see the behind the scenes magic that goes on.
Okay, I'm posting it to you, Andy. There we go.
Well, we'll have to look at that in a bit.
That's me. What about you, Andy? What you been doing? You've been like, as far as I could tell, you've been smashing it on the tournament scene.
Well, lots of tournaments. Age of Sigmar, Kings of War, Dead Zone. It's non-stop tournament action. I even had to get a notebook to write down all the dates for the tournaments I've got coming up. Wow. Because it's been quite a vast amount. It's being in Nottingham, it's just the hub of wargaming. So there's just tournaments left and right. And people, if they're particularly eagle-eyed, they might notice that I've positioned the camera so it's pointing directly at a decent portion of my trophy collection, which has added to it a second crown. If anyone's seen the original crown, another identical crown has appeared from the same event the next year. Well, technically it was in the same year, but it was the next version of that same event. I then won the crown for the best overall again, which was the Birmingham Bull Run Kings of War tournament.
I think you should. Do you wear that when you're at the following tournament?
Well,
like your last year's champion. That'd be good,
I
wouldn't it?
did actually. Since I won it the first time, I wore that to the second one. And then when I was being presented with the second crown, I took the first one off and then put the second one on in its place.
Could you wear both crowns?
It is difficult.
But the thing is, we've got a picture there of a ghoul wearing the crown of delusion.
We do, but we can say for certain that my crowns are not crowns of delusion. They're crowns of hard-hitting reality, of top-notch tournament performances, as the videos have proven on this channel.
Incredible. So, can you be a full-time tournament goer? Can you make a living out of that from your winnings? Can it be like the color of money when you're just going around the country playing pool?
Technically, the only way someone could do that is if they were earning enough Patreon revenue, I assume. So if people want to just throw literally their life savings at me so I can attend a tournament every week, then maybe that would be doable. But I think most of the Patreon funds would actually go just into attending the tournaments.
Colonel Billington says, "Do the crowns have jewels?"
They do not. And I'm hoping that because I've won 2 in a row now, the third one is going to be different, and maybe it will be adorned with jewels, or maybe it'll be something you can wear on a totally different body part, like a big golden gauntlet, so I can get the full suit.
I mean, Andy, you must be the most crowned Kings of War player in the country.
Not quite.
Maybe in the world, in the top 5.
Well, for this season, I can tell you that I'm currently ranked 15th in the UK.
Wow.
But I can put an asterisk next to that because I've not actually been to that many 2-day events, which are worth a lot more points. So I've got 3 top 3 finishes this season, which is usually where you get the trophies. And at the last event, I actually got the Best Painted award as well.
What, really?
My Night Stalkers.
Oh god, they're horrible.
Yeah, we're gonna see some of those, some of them that I've painted recently.
I mean, no offense, but they are that is the stuff of nightmares.
That's the idea.
Jeez. Well done. Well done indeed. And I also won a painting award, didn't I, Andy?
You did.
I did in one of my first Age of Sigmar tournament, where I got 3 out of 3, played 3 games and got 3 results, 3 L's.
Yes, that still counts as a result.
But I did no, in fact, I played 2 of the games, and the third one I had a substitute, but it was such a weak army, but it was a weak army, but it was an award-winning army because it won Best Painted.
Just spotted it in the chat. We've got some fresh names in there and some not so fresh. Obviously, Mickey, old school, long time participant in the chat. We've also got Wraith 13. I think we've seen that name before. We've got Michelle in there as well. We've got Stu Gibson, the legend. We've got Donald. Yeah, so some of the old faces showing up again.
I tell you what, do you know the second game of that tournament where I played? It was a doubles tournament, wasn't it? And I must have won the record for the shortest game because we literally got almost tabled first turn, which was incredible. I didn't know that could happen, but we were fighting 2 Terrorgeist, and they went first, and they basically just destroyed half our army in one turn. And there's literally nothing we could do about it. It was it made you feel like it wasn't fair teams somehow. But I understand that can happen a lot.
It certainly can do, this game. By the way, we've just got another old school chat member. We've got Void Captain Bazooka in there as well.
Right, we got the gang. How did you all know? This is brilliant.
I think it was the Andean REM signal was fired into the sky.
Yeah.
And they all looked
Amazing,
out
mate.
their window and just knew we were online. Either that or they looked at their subscriptions page on YouTube. But I think it's more likely the sign in the sky that did it.
Absolutely superb. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be back. And we're going to make this a regular thing again. Well, we haven't discussed it yet, but I've just announced that. I don't know. Maybe you want to agree?
Well, we've tentatively discussed coming back in the regular slot, which we're in right now, on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it could become a weekly occurrence if you play your cards right, audience, and if you're lucky as well.
I mean, hopefully we're front-footing the Warhammer: The Old World things, which hopefully are going to ramp up over the year of 2023. That's what we're hoping, right? Because ultimately, we are Warhammer Fantasy fans. Oh, Kings of War, Age of Sigmar, but I think it's going to be a big year for Warhammer: The Old World.
And we're actually going to be able to stay on top of the content a bit more than we did during Season 2, shall we say, because not only am I going to tournaments regularly, I believe you've just bought a ticket for one yourself.
I just paid £31 of my own money to enter a tournament, and I don't think it's doubles, is it?
Nope.
Oh God,
Just a
I'm really.
one-day singles event.
Well, the thing is, you can't get any worse than 3 losses, can you?
No?
I mean,
That's
you
true.
can lose back worse than you lost before, but it's still a loss. So
Someone
I'm
could knock your
thinking,
army on the floor.
yeah, I mean, there's going to be some hardcore gamers in there. You being one of them, Andy. We might discuss what army I should bring. I'm leaning towards Gloomspite Gits and checking out the Mangler Squig. That could be a lot of fun. But I do remember last time I played them against your Stormcast, they were absolutely useless.
That is correct. However, if you want a hot tip, then I can tell you that the trolls, the Troggoths, if you will, are the current hotness for the Gits.
Well, I've got trolls.
Yep, they're very, very, very good.
I've got river trolls, so they'll be coming out. That could be fun.
And if you want to describe me as a hardcore tournament goer, for Age of Sigmar, I haven't actually finished in the top 3 at any yet, but I think my best performance so far was an event at Warhammer World where I actually won 4 out of 5 games, which was very good.
And that wasn't enough to win a prize.
Nope, sadly. That only put me in about 12th place. There were a lot of people there, though. It was a really big tournament.
Wow, amazing. And that was with your Stormcast or the version?
That was with the Stormcast, yes. I've only used the Stormcast so far. Nothing else is ready.
Wow. Incredible.
So,
And that sounded secret, you see. Just stick to the same army.
while we're talking about what we've been doing, shall we just skip the news for now and come back to that later and look at the stuff we've been painting recently? How about that?
Okay. Yeah, don't get your hopes up though, because it's like I've been off the wagon for a long time.
So, let's have a look at what the Remster's been painting first of all.
Yeah, I've just been doing a base for this. I had painted it before, but I just was touching it up a bit. This is like a Chinesey dragon. Um, yeah, love that. I'm gonna
What's
maybe
the...
use that in my witch elves army, dark elves.
Which manufacturer
Right.
is this dragon?
What's the name of it? I can't remember the name. I got it from Bad Squiddo Games though.
Sure did. I believe it is a Dungeons and Lasers dragon.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I got a special deal from Bad Squiddo Games.
They're very inexpensive, these dragons, actually, from Bad Squiddo.
Yeah, it was. I think it was around £20. I mean, it's beautiful to paint as well, and it looked terrific. And every time I paint a big monster, I'm just reminded of how fun it is painting big stuff rather than 50 little regiment models.
That's kind of the boat I'm in at the moment as well, as
So
people will see.
yeah, so I'm really feeling the big buys.
Painted something very festive here as well, haven't you?
Well, I actually got this last year and I hadn't finished it, so I'm still got quite a way to go, but it's about 75% there. But that is the red gobbo, so he can fit into my squig. There's a new box set coming out with just loads of squigs. I'm thinking of getting that, which then I can field an entirely squiggly squig army.
I don't know how competitive it'd be, but a squig army with trolls in it would definitely be good.
Mickey says size matters. That's true. That is true.
Okay, what about this hideous creature?
Right, so I've got my what are they called again? The swamp orcs.
Cruel
The
boys.
the crawl boys. This would finishing off this miniature, which I dropped it yesterday. So the goblin beating the drum, his arm's fallen off. Yeah, this one's about 80% there. 75. I just need to paint the crew, sort out the base. But this would mean I have almost every miniature in the cruel boys army, apart from the big buzzard. So I always like my minimum strength, MSU, isn't it? I like to have a little bit, one of everything in my armies. So,
I
yeah,
think we're kind of similar in that way. We'll see an army that we think looks cool and just get a bit of everything sprinkled in for it.
yeah. So this is a marsh crawler slugoth, and they basically give a buff to the crawl boys.
Very spicy.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we move on to what I've been painting now? So it's been a while, so there's going to be quite a few pictures here. Obviously, if you're going to go into playing tournaments with the Stormcast, you need to have a second unit of Annihilators with Grand Hammers. Clearly. And they do very well.
Oh god, I hate them guys.
Drop
They're the
down.
ones that they charge as well. They charge and then they get it's like 2 to hit, 2 to wounds, 10.
Well, they land
10.
and do mortal wounds, they charge and do mortal wounds, and then they hit you.
That's not fun, is it?
It's not fun.
Are these guys taking out monsters? Take out everything?
Well, if you come up against an unprotected monster in the first turn, they have been known, with a bit of help, to just wipe it out instantly. Start of the game.
Wow.
So if you want some tactical advice, screen your monsters.
Screen your monsters, so don't put them at the front of your army, basically.
Well, make sure there's a line of something between them, between the monster and where these guys can land, I would say.
So when you and the games you played, did some people not screen their monsters and then you thought, oh my god, it's Christmas?
Some people try to, some people succeed, some people don't, some people leave little gaps by mistake. So yeah, it is tricky against an army that can just sap down half their army from the heavens.
Sometimes but it also protects you, doesn't it? When half your army is not on the table, it can protect you. If the other team get the first turn and they come at you with their bad stuff, you're like, okay, I've still got half my army though.
And the way I look at it, often I kind of want my opponent to go first, because that way they're having to move and spread out a bit so I've got more space to land. But if they let me go first, then I've got my nice long strikes as well. They're shooting the hero phase ability, so they're going to shoot twice before the enemy have moved, and then I've got these guys dropping down as well.
Wow.
So that's the plan, to make it a very difficult decision for the opponent of whether to go first or second. Both results can be bad. Okay.
See, do these have a weakness at all?
Yes. Let's see. So, any kind of shooter unit that can unleash hell on them. You can do monstrous rampages on them to stomp them into oblivion. They get into combat.
Do they have a good saving throw?
They have a decent save, but they don't have any protection against mortal wounds. So anything that does mortal wounds. And also, there have been times where I've brought them down 7 inches away. They have that re-rollable charge on the turn they come down as well. And I've still failed it twice. So sometimes they're just sitting ducks out in the open and they get immediately shot to death in the next turn.
Right, I see.
So occasionally they don't hit anything, because they still have to actually make their charge. Next, so some Kings of War stuff here. This is my Night Stalkers army.
Wow, and what are they then? Are they some sort of ghost?
These are phantoms. So they can fly, and they're very fast. And they're going to be ghostly and just get in your way, pretty much.
I mean, it's basically someone with a red sheet over them.
Yes.
Going, how do they actually hurt people?
Well, they don't actually hurt very much. It reminds me of the way how spirit hosts used to be in Warhammer Fantasy, where they'd just sit in front of things and block them. That's kind of the best role for this unit, I think.
I see.
They're very fast, so they can actually get into the place you want them to be to somebody.
Do you like playing this faction?
Yes. It's a lot of fun, actually. The thing they have that's unique is that their entire army is slightly resistant to shooting. Like, all enemy stuff is just -1 to hit against everything shooting. So when you come up against an army that has no shooting at all, and you think, oh, I've just paid a lot of points here, and I can't use one of my special rules for this game.
I see.
But it's still fun. And the most fun thing, though, is just the building of the horrible monsters.
Yeah, they look great. When they finish the whole base and everything, it does look cool.
We've got some soul flayers here, which are...
Aren't they a rip-off of Hex Wraith?
They are quite similar to Hex Wraiths, actually. They fly... They actually got a speed reduction in the last update because people thought they were a bit too good.
I see.
Which is probably fair. They were very good. They're still very good. They're just not quite as fast anymore. They're nice, hardish hitting cavalry. Still quite fast.
It seems like, Andy, you don't spam units in your Kings of War. You like to have a bit of everything, don't you?
Mostly, yes. The only thing I've done that would be considered spam, because it was one tournament to go before these guys got hit with the nerf bat, as they say, and suddenly get drastically worse, I decided to take 4 units of them at one event. Because some people had been running like 8 of them for 2 years. So I thought I'd get one going with 4 units and see how it goes, and they did quite well.
I see. Okay.
And then got these, which are the Rune Wars Carrion Lancers.
Ugh.
Now, you may remember that Rune Wars died a death, and all the miniatures were available for low prices. Everyone was just clearing out their stock because the game wasn't going to be supported anymore. So I picked up a few of these, decided to paint them and use them in my Night Stalkers. So I've used them as various units. Used them as Soul Flayers and Fiends as well.
Are these metal? Or
These
plastic?
are resin-ish. They're kind of... Are they? I think they're plastic, actually.
You've been busy, haven't you? Have you been painting in the evenings or weekends or days off?
Well, I've been mostly starting work around 11 AM, so when I'm really into painting something, I usually just get up early and do a few hours painting then. Next, I have to actually remember the names of all these units. We've got a Horror, also for the Night Stalkers, just a little individual there. Nice. Spellcaster. Too exciting about that one model. However, then we get to some juice. So, Stormcast, powerful units. Other than Annihilators and Long Strikes, Chariots are also pretty tasty, apparently. So I got one of those painted up.
Nice. Can they do sort of hit and run attacks or run away and then charge again kind of thing?
And they're not quite that powerful, fortunately. They do good damage when they charge in. And they're also more difficult to hurt when they charge in as well. So getting them charging is the key. They're not that expensive in points, actually. So they're quite a competitive choice, and it was a lot of fun to build and paint as well, this chariot.
Cool.
I've got a taste for painting these griff creatures as well.
Yeah, you got a formula, haven't you?
Yeah, nice. The purple fur is really easy and quick to paint, and then the feathers take 1,000 years to paint. So that's the formula.
Yeah, cool. You must have like thousands of points of Stormcast, haven't you, right?
Well, I've got a lot of points that are pretty much unusable, it has to be said. Because I've got some of the heroes from first edition that just... they're useless now.
Useless?
Well, in a fun game, you could still play them.
Okay.
But a lot of them don't really do a lot for the points you pay for them. Some that are still really good, like the Lord Relictor, who was one of the original models. He's still really good. But then you've got some of the... thinking like the Knight Heralder, you know, with the trumpet. He's pretty bad. And the Knight Venator, the one with the wings and the bow, pretty poor as well. So a lot of the models that I've got that look cool just aren't very good at the moment. And even some of the original units as well. Liberators are still fine. Retributors, which I used to really like, are really bad now.
Yeah.
When you compare them to Annihilators, they just can't compete, sadly.
I see. Yeah, I see. Well,
Then,
all right. Well, you painted a lot of stuff so far.
this is a Bad Squiddo. It's like a forest, woodland spirit type thing. It's a frog. And I painted this as a special character, kind of, for a tournament. And I thought, if it's going to be for Night Stalkers, it has to look like a creepy frog. So I thought I'd do it kind of clown makeup sort of. I think that looks pretty cool. Then we've got, this took a very long time. This is Shadow Hulk number 2 for the Night Stalkers. Tentacles aplenty. It's got zombies emerging from its neck where its head should be. It's got a big mouth in its stomach, which a poor soul is being pulled into. It's about to feed more people into that mouth. It's got faces all over it. It's got hands emerging where you wouldn't normally see hands.
Do you know if you were living in like an ice age and it was really cold and this monster came up and grabbed you and stuck it in its tummy, it might be actually quite a cozy place to be in those conditions.
Well, the way it looks here, it does give the impression that it's chewing you up as you're going in.
Oh, well, apart from the teeth, it could be like, going into a kangaroo's pouch almost,
Well, if you want to volunteer for that job, go nuts. So this is obviously based on a Mega Gargant.
I see. Colonel Billington, by the way, says this creature is not giving me any Christmas spirit.
Well, that's a shame. What about all the snow I've got on the screen? That special effect has got to be filling everyone with Christmas spirit right now.
I like all the zombies coming out the neck. They're fantastic. You don't, I mean, in fact, I don't even miss him having a head because it's got all those people waving around. It's like maybe you've looked at that. What is it? Is it Dante? Is it where there's all those different kinds of hell, all the different levels of hell, and it's like a painting.
The levels are... Is that the one where there's the music kind of inscribed on someone's butt?
I don't know. Maybe someone can help me in the audience. There's that famous painting, and it's from a book, and it's all the different levels of hell and people getting tortured by different things. Reminds me of something from that.
There's a few famous hellscapes, I think.
Yeah.
But there's a side view, so you can see the hand emerging from the armpit sort of area.
Right.
More faces visible there.
Hmm.
And
this is like this is one of the newish Gargants, isn't it, from Games Workshop?
yes, heavily chopped up and customized though. And the fact that you get so many hands in the kit meant that I was able to make all this weirdness going on here.
Were you tempted not to just make it into a straight up giant though, because they are cool models?
Not really, because I bought it with this purpose in mind. I had the idea, because I already had the big tentacle mouth bit for the stomach, and I thought that'd look really good on a Gargant, actually. So it was bought with that in mind.
Right. I might get a Gargant. Screw it. There's that new King Giant. I might get one of them. I don't know.
And here is a legion of bloodworms, which is mostly Bad Squiddo snails, and the Bad Squiddo death snail. And there's also some Heresy Miniatures maggot men and Gribblies in there.
Ugh. Let's talk about you having dandruff, Andy. Is that thing?
I think someone was referencing the snow effect on the screen.
No Head and Shoulders used by Andy or the Giant. In fact, your hair looking very dashing at the minute, Andy. Looking good. I've gone a lot shorter. It's longer than it looks, actually. I've just sort of tied it back. But mine got ridiculously long. Yours is getting...
I'm getting back to prime length, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to be tied up soon.
Ah, cool, man. That's good.
Getting there.
And your room, I mean, you probably don't want to show us all your room, but it looks very organised and tidy.
Quite organised. I'm sure people have already seen the video on my wonderful miniature display cabinet.
Yeah.
From IKEA as well. If they haven't, it's on the channel. Here's the last thing that I painted, or completed at least. This is some Abyssal Dwarf Lesser Obsidian Golems.
They look great.
So I already had 2 units of these, so I've added a third one, because they're good.
Yeah, they're serious, man.
So that is everything I've been painting. However, I can reveal for you. So you know how I've got those two big Shadow Hulk hideous tentacle giants now for my Night Stalkers. I've been looking into it, and wouldn't you know it, the base size that they're on fits perfectly onto a Mega Gargant base.
Oh,
So that means I've already got about 50% of a Sons of Beermat army.
fantastic.
So, with that
a
in
new skill
mind,
line.
I made a purchase during the Black Friday sale on Titan Forge
Yeah.
and got another giant.
Yeah.
So
That's really good, isn't
he's
it?
very big and very inexpensive as well. So it's about the same size as a Mega.
How much was that?
This was about £20 in the sale.
What? That would be like £100, wouldn't it, if it was Games Workshop?
It would, and it's a pretty cool
Jesus.
one. He's got a pistol, which is like a cannon in one hand. So I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to tentacle it up yet, but it's going to be disgusting when it's finished.
What is it, a space giant then?
No, it's just a cannon that is converted into a pistol, so it's still
Oh,
fantasy.
I see. Cool.
And because the Sons of Beermat, you can also have the mini giants as well. So,
Yeah.
you want something that no one's ever seen before? Work in progress.
Sure.
Work in progress, mini giant with multiple heads on tentacles.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah.
people can see more of that soon when it's finished. But if I have 3 or 4 Mega Gargants, I have 3 minis, maybe 4, then that's pretty much all you ever need for that army.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
that'll give
I
me another
see.
Age of Sigmar army.
Andy, our Discord seems to be going crazy. I think people uploading pictures of the things they've painted.
Are they? I'm going
It
to have a
looks.
look right now. If they
I
are,
think.
then we'll have to show people that next week.
I think Dino Titan Edition is going crazy there. That's cool though.
It's good if the Discord server is going wild suddenly now that we're back on the air. I'm not surprised. So yeah, we'll show off everything that people have been working on next week if people would like to post on our Discord server, which is linked below.
We need to ask the audience: Do they want the songs to come back? Do they want What the Hell Is That to come back? Do they want Nerd Confessions? You know, all the old school things, or do you want us to just go with the flow? You know.
Well, if we're both attending tournaments, we'll be able to have some deep tactical discussions as well, won't we? You're known as a tactics maestro. I remember in the Warhammer Fantasy days, you did make an attempt at the odd tactical video.
Yeah.
The evidence is still there on your channel.
I did, but the thing is, see, Warhammer Fantasy did stay still for a while, so you could actually sort of digest the rules over a long period of time and think about them, and you know, but Age of Sigmar changes so fast, and there's so many more models coming all the time. I'm struggling to keep up, but part of that's my own fault because I've got too many armies still. Even though I did sell a good third of my armies, still got a luxury of riches here. And don't know. Variety is the spice of life, isn't it?
Apparently, people want the Forest of Rem to come back.
They do?
So where that actually ended, I think it's season 3 of the Forest of Rem. It ended on a bit of a cliffhanger as Remington, or what was the name? It wasn't Remington anymore, was it?
Remington's Millions. There's people wanting that. That would be good.
The Rem
Owen Lee-
character was heading to fight all the Stormcast with his minions, and you had some monsters. So I was thinking we could actually do that, the finale of the Forest of Rem season 3, as like a narrative battle report. That'd be fun, wouldn't
That's a great. Yeah, I'm up for that. That would be, Owen Lee says he hates Forest of Rem. Not his exact words, but I get the. But yeah, if we made it into a battle, that could be a really good laugh. But what would be the model? Would the what would be the Remington model?
I don't know. We'll have to go back and listen to it to figure out whether he got mutated or. I can't remember, because in the previous seasons, obviously, you ended up with a flesh wand and all kinds of paraphernalia. So
the $1 million ideas have to come back. How the hell am I supposed to do this and get rich? I think 2022 has been a tough year for everyone, you know, because we'll have to tighten our belts, and things have just gotten real expensive and whatnot. So which was going to come after all the free money they were giving away during COVID, bound to come, wasn't it? So I think 2023 we can look forward to slightly better times.
What
So
do you make
that
of the world's financial situation, particularly the whole like crypto domain
oh mate,
that you've obviously
yeah,
been interested in for a long time?
no, it's horrible. It's horrible right now. And the thing is, I read so much about it that, and the main thing was that these things go through 4-year cycles, and the cycles go from high to low. And we're in the lowest of the low at the moment within the 4-year cycle. But when you're in the high bit, as in 2020, 2021, when things were going great, and you could pick any kind of you could pick any stock or crypto, and probably went up quite a lot in 2020, 2021.
Have you seen
That's
in
completely changed now.
Have you been looking at the
It's changed.
chat? You may have noticed that
No.
there's a bit of a Christmas miracle just happened in there.
What? What the hell is that? Snap Rem is back. Oh my god. Oh, dude.
So that is quite a
Hey,
hefty
man.
donation.
Well, Dead Gamer, you're a legend. We're definitely going to stick around, man. We're back for good. Plus the fact I've quit my normal job and I'm just doing music now. So at least on my part, I can be making a lot more content. Same with you, Andy,
Yeah,
right?
so
Oh, that's sick.
yeah, I think we need to offer a serious thanks to Dead Gamer there for that
What a
donation.
legend. We've got to
Which,
get him back on the show as well.
yeah, so we'll have to split that donation down the middle and then get something Warhammer related.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Oh, that's been brilliant, man. Dead Game, what a legend, man. Thank you. Wow.
I think everyone's full of the Christmas spirit now, aren't they? Looking at that.
That's wicked, man. So, what are we talking about? Yeah, it's just a tough year for everyone, right? You know, um, I've noticed in shops, I mean, like a butter used to be like £1.49, but for went into Aldi's, the standard butter, £1.49. Now it's £2.10. So everything's got more expensive. I'm sure everyone's noticed, and a lot of people are wanting to go on strike over here because the wages aren't keeping up with inflation. But you see, if you give everyone more wages, then they'll put the prices up even more. So you're in this horrible
You need to
cycle
put
of things.
something in place that prevents the prices from going up to
Well,
stay annoyingly ahead of wages, don't you?
but do you know what the answer to that is?
What's Remington's answer to that?
It's people stop buying stuff. If people go, right, I'm not paying that much for fuel, I'm not paying that much for butter, so I'm not getting it. Then suddenly companies they can't keep putting the prices up if there's no demand. So
I
if
think
there's
your
less
main issue
demand,
there is that some of these things are essential that people can't
yeah,
actually live
well,
without. So it reminds me of Total
this is true.
Recall when he puts the price of air up on Mars. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. So it starts off with things people stop buying things they don't really need, like luxury items and, stuff like crypto, stuff like, speculative stuff. And it goes down to bare essentials. But yeah, that cycle stops when people stop paying for it
I think there's
because the
been
prices have to come down.
a lot of things have conspired to make like the perfect storm for the situation the world's in right now. Particularly this country, you've had the
Oh,
likes
God.
of Brexit and COVID
Oh,
all
terrible.
hitting us around the same time. So I think the only
Terrible.
cure, if you ask me, is to claw all that wealth back from the 1% and and
Well, what
actually
they
allow it to trickle
yeah.
for a
But
change.
you see what they're doing instead is, inflation puts the prices up, and banks, Federal Reserves, they put the interest rates up as well. So that squeezes people who have houses. They have to pay more mortgage. If they're on a variable interest rate, they suddenly have to pay more for everything. But the savings rate goes up. So basically, people stop spending and
I
they try
say
and
we
save.
avoid squeezing people on their homes and put all our effort into squeezing people who just bought a fourth yacht. How about that?
Well, that's not gonna. Yeah, well, you can do that, but that's not gonna really help everyone that's poor, is it?
It's a start.
This is But if you squeeze the people that are giving, the best ideas that are most in demand, that's not fair, is it?
I think it's safe to say there's a good amount of them that aren't really doing that.
That's not fair. Come on. We all know that Roman Abramovich, got all his stuff legally, didn't he?
Yes, certainly. We all know that everyone who's wealthy earned all their money. None of them inherited it. Definitely.
Okay, Mickey Sever says no economics, please. So yeah, there we go. I think we've talked enough about that. But yeah,
How are we
basically,
going to have the Remington's Millions segment if we don't have economic discussion?
well, this is true. My point is, I think next year's going to be a better year. That's all I want to say, basically. So hang in. We've only got a couple of weeks left. You know.
Well,
Trickle
there you go.
down. Weasel as rich footballers. Well, that's obscene. Footballers. I don't know if you guys in America think. I guess your sports stars get paid a lot. Our footballers here get paid so much. It's
Some
wrong.
sports are like really top heavy, aren't they? If you look at something like boxing, you've got a few of them that make all the millions, and then the rest of them probably aren't making that much.
Yeah.
I think football, you've got a wider net of players that are making scene money than in other sports.
People make so much money in sport now that they can't ever go poor. They'd have to be the dumbest people in the world to actually lose their money.
Sometimes you do get that though, don't you? Some of them get gambling problems.
No, I think even if they still had gambling maybe 10, 20 years ago, but nowadays I don't think they do. Because
It should be impossible to spend that much money. It should be impossible.
Every week.
It should be impossible to spend some of these players' weekly wage in a year, even if you try really hard. It should be impossible. But
it's basically Brewster's Millions. Every successful footballer here is like Brewster's Millions. It's like, how do I spend all this money? I can't do it in time. But there you go. Anyway, let's carry on with. Should we go through some of the new miniatures released?
I think we should, because we've got quite a lot from GW, obviously. It's been, as we discovered, how long's it been? Like 8 or 9 months, actually, since the last episode. So we're not going to be able to cover everything right now, but just a cursory glance. Let's have a look at the Warhammer community. And we've got this Ghoul King with the Crown of Delusion. The delusion is that we would be able to cover all the releases in this show, I think.
So is the delusion actually that he thinks he's a Bretonnian knight?
I don't know. I haven't read up on it. But it's cool, though. And I believe that Annie of Bad Squiddo Games is actually the world's #1 ghoul collector. So she might be all over this, actually.
I think she will be, yeah. With the crown jewel of her ghoul collection.
The delusional crown jewel. So let's have a look. Let's view all news, shall we, and see what comes. So it's just somebody's army being hit with a spotlight. The run up to Christmas. There's big Warhammer 40,000 releases, which of course don't dabble in too much on this show. There's the Ghoul King, new Necromunda stuff. We tried to dabble in at one point, but found the rulebook literally impossible to read.
I did paint a clan etching band, which is sick, but yeah.
Let's see, there is. Let's keep going until we get some. Oh, here we go. So we've got some Gloomspite Gits here. We've got Grin Crack the Great. So have you heard the fluff for this new batch of Gits?
No.
I believe that this particular Git believes he is some kind of great ruler and bestows like knighthoods onto his minions. So they all believe they're glorious knights going on noble quests. That's how I've heard it described. You've got one with a mushroom trumpet, it looks like.
They're actually great miniatures. I don't think all the black on them is doing them a much sort of a service there. I think you can do much more interesting paint jobs.
I think the black is maybe because the metal is quite dark as well, so there's not much of a contrast there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we could do some nice stuff there with some. Yeah, I would paint them like court jesters.
Yeah, I think that would work. Cool. Another way of doing it would be to paint them like actual knights, like Bretonnian knights, each one with their own individual heraldry.
Yeah,
that would be kind of interesting as well.
Nice
So
idea.
There's the whole lot. You get one that's got a squig on a stick. It's like an attack squig on a stick as well.
I love that one. Yeah, that's sick.
So very cool indeed.
Squig.
What else have we got?
Oh, you get a squig on with a hammer there as well. Guy on a squig. There, see.
Okay, have you paid any attention to Meta Watch
No.
on the Warhammer community? So
No.
what they do is they go over all the compiled tournament results and analyse which factions are doing well and which ones have been maybe changed in the rules updates and which units are being taken a lot and what they're doing about it and so on. So it's really interesting actually that they're engaging with the tournament scene like that.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I mean,
It would be a great idea if they had it first, but I'm pretty sure over at The Honest Wargamer, Rob's been doing that for quite some time, and they've kind of stolen his idea. But it's still fun. It's nice to see an official spin on it as well. Some would say you would expect to get kind of a sanitized version of it from GW, where obviously they wouldn't want to tell you not to buy something. They're going to have to be polite about things that aren't doing very well, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think people are a bit harsh on them sometimes, aren't they?
I'm sure at times people are harsh on GW.
Yeah.
I'm sure at times people leap to their defense when it's not necessary as well.
True, but it's you got to admit, compared to 10 years ago, it's a different company now.
It's certainly got a different face on it nowadays.
Yeah, they're reaching to the community. There's communication every week with new stuff. They're pivoting when people aren't happy. This would have been, you're getting deals. You never used to get discount and deals. Just saying.
Now, there's lots of Horus Heresy stuff, which is something we've never really dabbled in. And just scrolling until I find some more AOS stuff on here, really.
Well, have you been on the subscription? Have you been watching the?
Well, I actually cancelled my Warhammer Plus subscription because I found I wasn't watching it because there just wasn't enough on there that interested
me. Right. Well, I didn't cancel mine, and so I saved. But then I didn't watch for a couple of months either because I was away or I was ill, and then I had a really nice afternoon just catching up with loads of stuff, and the quality of the content's good. I hear what you're saying though. Maybe there's not enough, but someone who was just gonna maybe start it now, there'd be a decent amount of content on there.
I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to jumping back on it in the future, but in these tough financial times, you have to kind of watch where every penny is going, don't you?
I totally get you with that. But I did hang on to my subscription to get the free miniature.
I have actually got my free assassin from the first year, which I'm probably going to stick on eBay.
Well, I got my. I don't know if you can all see that. Yes.
Yep, your Iron Jaw.
I think because I don't collect Iron Jaws, I'm just going to keep this as a commemorative box and keep for a couple of years. And who knows, man?
Who knows? It might be worth a bit more than it is now in a couple of years.
It might be worth a whole year's worth of subscription. But the one that's being offered for next year, I really like the look of that one. The Chaos Sorceress with all the gribblies.
So, one notable thing from GW that happened, they released the Space Dwarves, the Squat.
Yeah.
And did you hear all about that? The drama about their release? Yeah, because they leaked some of the rules. People were saying, yes, these are clearly too powerful. They released them as is, and then before people had actually got their hands on the stuff, or before people had been able to use them in tournaments, they'd already drastically nerfed the entire range because they realised, actually, yes, this is way too powerful. Or they already knew beforehand and they just were reacting to the outcry over it. One or the other.
Well, I think it's had a positive outcome because it looks like they're engaging with the community better. And there's also this war cry. Look at this. What do you think of those two factions you got from that box set? The Jade Obelisk, right?
Let's have a look.
And you got some lizard men.
Well, these are kind of cool.
They are kind of cool.
They have got a kind of Rem would probably paint them, look about them.
Yeah, but they're basically sort of chaos barbarians. They're like a chaos tribe.
I think everything in Warcry is kind of that way, isn't it? Yeah, interesting. And I think that's about it from the community. So if we just have a look at the GW website now, we're in the Age of Sigmar section here. 5 days left for free Christmas delivery. Spend more than £40.
Oh, right.
But one thing I was looking at was these battle forces,
Yes.
which they usually do around this time of year, don't they? Just a big old army box.
Oh, my days. These look... Well, I've got my eye on one of these. Let's just say that.
And if you happen to want most of the models in one of them, they're usually pretty decent value. I think...
Oh, no. The Squig of Lanch is sold out. That's the one I wanted.
Oh no, Gloomspike gets Stampeding Squigalanch.
God
Are they
damn it.
available in stores as well?
Well, my local store, I went all the way to town today and it was closed. And they said it was closed because they've had so many online orders. They're having to deal with that.
No.
Urgh.
Well, maybe you can
Anyway,
look around and find it still somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know if they're
there is-
direct only.
It's such a good deal because you get... when I saw it, I thought this must be a mistake because there's 2 Mangler Squigs, which are about £50 each. So basically, you're getting 2 Mangler Squigs for £130. You're getting £30 would be the 10 Squig hoppers. That means you're getting a hero on a Squig and 10 normal Squigs for free, which is something like £45 free. But then if you get to a shop that gives you 20%, 15-20% discount, then you're getting an absolute bargain.
So, let's see. It actually tells you what comes in it here. So, 1 Loon Boss on a giant cave squig, 2 Mangler Squigs, 10 Squig Hoppers, 10 Cave Squigs. Yeah, so you get a decent...
Yeah,
Well, you did if you were able to jump on it in time.
Yeah,
It
because
says no longer available online, so it might be available in stores somewhere.
yeah.
One I was eyeing up would have been the Stormcast one. I was thinking, actually, you know what? I don't have a lot of these units, so it could actually be useful. The only ones I've got, I think, I've got Annihilators, obviously, but it's got, like, Vanquishers, and the Stormdrake Guard, and Vigilors, I think, and some heroes, or a hero. But most of that stuff I don't own, so it would have actually been financially a pretty good deal if I was going to buy them all anyway at some point. But I don't think I need that much new Stormcast stuff, sadly, because I've already got this vast army, and some of which hasn't even been painted yet.
Yeah, I mean,
don't
look,
think I'd
my
really need
local
all that.
my local store, independent store, was selling the Stampede Squigalanch for £104.
Nice.
But they've sold out. You see, I think everyone saw the deal.
Well, you'll have to start scouring the internet and see if you can find it still out there.
Damn it.
So yeah, that's what GW have graced us with lately. And a couple of other things people have asked me to show you as well. Some new Mantic releases recently.
All right.
So
Yeah,
Mantic
do it.
Ogres, Kings of War. And to say they're an upgrade on the previous Ogres would be the understatement of the century. The previous Ogres didn't look that great. They had quite tiny legs and a bit weird looking, but the new ones, ridiculously nice. So I'll show you the big pictures of the units. So there's the new Ogre Chariots. Very tasty, I think you'll agree.
What are those comedy lions pulling them?
Those are more beasts,
They don't.
which are the things that goblins have in Kings of War, as like their squig equivalent.
You know, those noses just make them look too cute.
They do look kind of comical, don't they, there?
Yeah, Dino says he's totally right, Dino. Are those Pokemon pulling the chariots?
I think the paint job doesn't do them any favours in that regard. You could make them look much more gruesome,
Right.
couldn't you?
The ogres look kind of cool, though, yeah.
Here's the Ogre Infantry, and the actual Ogre Infantry box can be made into various different units, and then there are a couple of others that are resin upgrade sets as well. So obviously, the way Mantic operate, they can't just release like 10 plastic box sets for an army. So it makes sense that they have a couple of sprues that can make lots of different things, and then resin upgrades to make the rest of the unit. So they're going to share like the same few legs between the units, that kind of thing.
Jeez.
So they're really nice though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sprue. There's the whole mega army, which is actually what I've got. So, I've got some built ones around somewhere.
Oh man, it's so dangerous buying armors and models because you got to paint them. You need a lot of time to paint these things, man.
So this is some of the built models. There's the hero that comes in the box.
Wow.
And had a lot of fun assembling the regular ogres as well. So some with the big weapons there. We've got some ogre boomers with the short range, like flamethrower type weapons.
Yeah.
Very cool. I haven't touched the chariots yet. Because obviously I've got a million other projects ongoing, including other Kings of War stuff. So I haven't started painting this army yet. But
How many Kings of War armors you got now?
let's see. Goblins, abyssal dwarves, undead halflings, which can be used as various things. Night stalkers. I missed any. I think it's 5. So the ogres will be the 6th war army.
Is that? I mean, is that a sensible thing to do?
Well, there are people out there that have, I believe, one army for every single Kings of War army available. So
Yeah.
there's at least one person who's actually on YouTube. I believe Mr. Lazy Pirate Painting has about 20 armies for Kings of War. At least. Maybe more than that now. But he's an absolute Kings of War beast when it comes to army collection. So, let's have a look at the chat. Owen says, are there Mantic Plastic League of Rordia yet? Well, there are Mantic Plastic Halflings, which are separate from the League of Rordia now. So the League of Rordia used to be humans and halflings combined as one faction. They've changed it now, so the halflings now have their own faction, just halflings. So there are plastic ones available as well, which are... So let's have a look at some more Mantic stuff. There's the new Empire of Dust as well, which are kind of their Tomb Kings, if you will.
Yeah.
So they did have a range previously that were nowhere near as nice as these.
These armies, they're really like value for money, aren't they?
Yes, you do get a lot in there compared to certain other companies.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Lazy Pirate is actually in the audience right now and confirms that it's 23 painted Kings of War armies. And the model's ready for 5 more.
Does he get to use them all?
He uses a fair chunk of them, actually.
Well, yeah, Mickey says you can't be that lazy then. There
No.
you are.
Unless all the other pirates are just even more hardworking and have 100 armies each, in which case you would be the laziest of the pirates. So,
Do you know with your Kings of War journey, Andy?
yes.
And, obviously painting these armies and going to these tournaments and getting on podiums and stuff. What's the community like?
Community is friendly for a start. It's not too ridiculously competitive, if you will. Obviously, there are people that are more competitive than others, but for the most part, I would say it's very new player friendly.
Yeah.
So usually at a tournament, nowadays, there's often 1 or 2 players there who either haven't been to a tournament before or they've only been to full of previous events.
Yeah.
So occasionally you'll have a match-up in the first round or so when a really new player meets one of the top-ranked players and just gets wiped off the face of the earth. But then all their games after that, they'll be against more leveled-out players, their skill level. Yeah, the miniatures that Mantic have released, I can't think of any bad ones that they've done in a while now. Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, cool, man.
They're definitely up to their game. Oh yeah, so with the Mantic Ogres, actually, another point on them. Ogres are actually pretty tasty in Age of Sigmar right now. If anyone was looking for an inexpensive source of ogres, then Mantic, obviously. Get a lot of them in there.
That's fantastic, especially since I sold my ogre army 2 years ago.
Yeah, have you heard about the ogre meta? Or the units that are really powerful for the
No,
ogres now?
no,
Yeah,
which
so
ones are
Iron Blasters are really good now.
right?
Noblars are actually good now, somehow.
Noblars, not Noblar trappers, or just they
Yeah,
don't
they're
have
just,
those anymore.
yeah, they're pretty good now. And I'm not sure which other units are considered powerful, but you often, against ogre players, you often come up against the, what's it called, the big one on the monster, the Stonehorns, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Stonehorn or Thunder Tusk.
yeah.
Those big monsters with an ogre riding on the back. You see a lot of those at tournaments. You're just mulling on the fact that you sold yours now.
Yeah, yeah. I've just found a stampeding Squiggleland.
Where? In
Uh,
fact, don't tell me because someone will buy it from the audience. Yeah, just buy it quick. How
well,
much?
it's from Cryptic Cabin, company called Cryptic Cabin.
How much is it there?
£108, including
Is
postage.
this a reputable website? Never heard of them.
Don't know. Just bought it.
Okay, we'll find out then. We'll update you next
Okay.
week. Actually, we can't really update you next week just in case it suffers from the mail strikes. So we'll update you when it arrives.
Okay, well there you go. I've got it. That's can thank yeah. I can thank you guys for that. Oh God, what have you done? Maybe buy loads. I've just all right.
What's
Well,
the
we'll
point
see.
being an international rock star if you can't buy a squiggle lunch now and then?
That's for Dead Gamer. That's who I got that for. I got it for Dead Gamer, man. Thanks for supporting us.
There you go. So that's your share of the cash gone then.
That's my share of the cash. I bought a Stampeding Squigglelanch Dead Gamer, and I've got a ton of kits already. There, they look amazing. I just wish they were good because when I played Andy, you just can't kill Stormcast. I mean, you've got these things with jaws and little knives and stabby things that they're no good against people with golden armor that come down from the skies.
I'm sure there is a way. I'm sure at this tournament we're going to later this month, you'll run up against something that shows you exactly what you should be doing with your army.
Yeah, but it won't be with miniatures that I have.
I'm
Because
sure it will.
you think?
Yeah, all the
Some
armies
of
have
it,
got tricks in there. The only one I can think of, one of your armies that lacks something that is usually considered important, would be your Daughters of Cain that don't have Marathi.
no, but I could have Marathi now because I could use that dragon thing, couldn't I? That I painted.
Is it on the same size base?
Right. I could just make it so, right?
Maybe you could then.
I could.
I think that was the one
Uh,
piece that was missing from that army, wasn't it? You had all the other
yeah,
elements there.
I'd have to practice that, man. Because do you remember all those extra rules with Daughters of Cain? They're really hard to kill, aren't they? Actually, and they're very killy. There's just
Yes.
no rend. I can imagine the games going on for ages, and it's just going to frustrate people. So I might go with just something simple with lots of big monsters.
I think that's probably the safest way to go. If
Yeah.
it's a tournament, you want to get your games actually finished, first of all, don't you?
Yeah. Did you come across any like all monster armies?
I've played against the Sons of Behemat, so that counts, I suppose.
Yeah. How did you fare?
Well, it didn't go that great, sadly, even though I took a list that was designed to deal with that kind of stuff.
I mean, I suppose the good thing about fighting those is that they can't just bring back models, can they? I mean, they might
Typically,
be able to heal
no.
a few wounds here and there, but
So the main thing, if you can kill one of them each turn, you're very likely to win. If you can't kill one each turn, you're very likely to lose. That's
so
usually
do
what it
you?
comes down to.
So do you like focus fire or just focus on one at a
Yes.
time if you
But
can?
there's not many of them, and it's difficult for them to support each other as well because they need to spread out for objectives and whatnot. So if you just focus in on one, put all your effort into taking down one each turn, then that's usually enough.
Do they cover lots of ground? So, like, they can be on top of you by
They are
turn 2.
fast and they have ways to boost their speed as well. So yeah,
Right.
it's quite fun playing against them anyway. They have a lot of fun, weird rules as well for interacting with enemy monsters.
See.
Yeah, 'cause I think they came out during our show hiatus, didn't they? The new Sons of Beermat book with the king.
Yeah, you had a giant in one of the battles we played. You brought your giant out. I'm sure I managed to kill it, but not before it just slaughtered.
Yeah, there is a mercenary giant you can take in any of the armies, which actually I'm thinking about using at the next event with my Stormcast.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that should be
nice.
fun.
Well, yeah, I might need to get a game in before this tournament. So kind of doing. We'll see. Maybe we
Have
can
to
sort something
look
out.
into that, see what we can do.
Well, look, is there anything else? Should we wrap it up here? Or
I think we
haven't
should
bored
probably
everybody?
wrap this one up very shortly. So, obviously the future is bright, this show, as you can imagine, now that we're back in the saddle, firmly in the saddle. And once we're in there playing games again, we've already got this. I'm embedded in the tournament scene now. So we're going to have a bit more insight. More games to be played now that you're back from your international tour and not in hospital with serious ailments. That's always good.
I have lots of gigs though in March. Bunch gig going on a European tour.
But you
Do you know-
were able to stop your full-time day job though, weren't you? Time being,
Well,
at least.
I wanted to keep both because I thought if I could manage to keep both, then I'd be like quids in, But they just weren't able to give me the time off that I needed for the tours. So they're keeping me on as like a mentor for the music students. So I'll be like their online mentor. We'll see what that's like, but it means I don't have to travel and mark work and do, and give classes and stuff.
That's
So
the
it
dream
should be
then,
kind
isn't
of cool.
it, for a teacher? You don't have to mark anyone's work. You don't have to actually be within arm's reach of any of the people. Sounds great.
Yeah. So there you go. We'll see how it pans out, right? Yeah, it pans out. But yeah, it should be a great year next year. Hope that's the same for everyone, right? Stay positive, keep doing what you love doing, and one day it will become good for you.
Mickey sounds surprised about you being a mentor. She thinks
Mickey.
maybe Rem, the legendary international rock star, isn't the kind of guy to be handing out life advice to anybody.
Well, music students.
Yes,
They
musical
might
life
want
advice.
advice.
By the way, now that you're not doing full-time teaching anymore,
Yeah.
obviously teachers are well known when they go into these online ventures like YouTubing. They tend to use assumed false names, pseudonyms, if you will. And I'm sure people might guess that your real name isn't necessarily Remington Steele. Is that
Yeah.
something you're going to stick with even if you never go back to teaching now?
I don't know. I need to think about that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Andy. I like Remington Steele. It's a cool name.
That would be a big change, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's not my real name, by the way, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I know we've just outraged certain members of the audience now.
So there you go. Dead Gamer says, got a tour out here. Dude, we were in California. I was there last month. We played in Berkeley. We played in San Juan Capistrano. And we played in Hollywood. Yeah, we did 3 gigs out there in California. But I think we're going to be back. So Mickey says, why would Rem change his name? Why would I change my name? Yeah. So I've got a stage name and I've got a Warhammer name too.
Yes, I think we know which one of them is
Right.
more
All good for tax
more
reasons as
well-known.
well. All good for tax reasons, Andy.
Well, you have just admitted to that live on the internet, just in case any tax inspectors are watching.
Colin Mack says Rem is a lie. Sorry, did I burst your bubble?
Your dead gamer is now regretting his life choices because he could have been there.
Oh, dude, Berkeley, it was. Oh no.
He needs to start following all your band social media, doesn't he? Keep up with the tour schedule.
You need to message me, and I'll give you my details, there, gamer man. And yeah, next time we're out there, you can come. But I was particularly ill at that gig. I wasn't in a good. I wasn't in a good way on tour. I had a collapsed lung, so that kind of like put a downer on it for me.
Would you say it's a good job you're not the lead singer of the band if you had a collapsed lung the whole time?
Yeah, great job. I wasn't lead singer. Yeah, it was good news. Who'd want to be a lead singer? It sucks.
Sounds like it's tough vocal cords.
Yeah, night after night.
It's bad enough just talking once a week on this show, isn't it? Okay, everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's about time to wrap this one up. So, either in the chat now or if you're not watching this live in the comments, let us know which segments you would like to see return. Do you want to see the Forest of Rem come back? Do you want to see the finale for the kind of current season as a narrative battle report? Sounds like it'd be fun. Before we maybe go on to a new season, would you like to see the
What
kind
the
of
hell is that?
what the hell is that? We've got
Remington's Millions.
Yep. What other segments have we got?
What's your nerd confession?
Yes. What else? Rem's hot tip.
What tips?
Andy's deep bath.
Oh, I like that. That was great.
And don't forget Witch Coven as well.
Witch Coven. That was amazing.
Yeah, so all kinds of segments we can bring back. So let us know which
And
ones you would like to see.
which was Andy the Ungor in Witch Coven? Yes,
Yes.
he was. He was.
So maybe season 2 of Witch Coven.
That's gonna break the internet.
Probably
That's
would
phenomenal.
actually.
And what about bringing on guests as well? Some
Yes.
people like that.
Be able to line up more guests, some old, some new, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now that we're
Nice.
back, word on the street is going to filter through to all these people going to be demanding spots on the show. We'll have to be very selective.
Absolutely. All right. Well, God bless you all. Thanks for tuning back in. It's like, I couldn't believe it. I'm a bit overwhelmed by all the support. But yeah, we're going to give back and keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, so obviously, don't forget to click all the links in the description, including the one to Remington's channel, which you may occasionally see some content on if you stay subscribed for a number of years. Video might pop up now and then. And don't forget to check out our Discord server. There's the Facebook group. There's all the various other social media stuff down there. If you want merch as well, there's links below. You can get various merch emblazoned with logos from the Andy and Rem show, or even just the Andy 2D6 logo if you don't want any Rem on your stuff, which is it's understandable. There's also the Forest of Rem logo as well, if you just want a bit of Rem on your merch. No Andy representation at all. Can't really understand that, but you never know. There might be some people out there. And keep your eyes peeled, keep your ear to the ground, keep your nose to the grindstone. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep all your senses alert. Because
avoid Andy Palooza. Sucks.
Well, don't know about that. Andy Palooza, yeah. Andy Palooza's going to be on. I don't know about RemCon. I think RemCon, we might have to indefinitely postpone that one, at least until Andy Palooza's finished, because there's just not the interest at the moment, I'm afraid. Since we took this break from the show, your celebrity status is at an all-time low despite your international touring, so we need to build your reputation up again.
Well, we've had one request. Mickey Gemma says RemCon, but it says con in big letters.
Does that suggest that it's actually a con?
I think she might be meaning that. That's delusion. Mickey, you get the crown of delusion for today. How dare you?
Okay. And any other parting words for the people?
We love you back. Well, yeah, I thought there'd be like 2 people watching, and it would suck, but there's not. There's 8 times that amount.
And obviously,
incredible.
big thanks to all the patrons who have been supporting this channel as well. And extra special thanks specifically right now to Dead Gamer for that mammoth gargantuan donation as well.
Phenomenal, man. What are you going to do with your part of that, Andy?
Don't know. If I get this Sons of Behemat army up and running, then I suppose I would need the Battle Tome and the War Scroll cards, probably, at least. And maybe some more stuff for that army. A model or two. Build some more horrible tentacle giants. So I'll look into that. Sounds good, doesn't it? Okay. It's time to wrap this one up. Would you like to say farewell to the audience, Mr. Remington?
Farewell to the audience. And just remember, you only get what you give.
Is that your new closing catchphrase? New sign off?
I think it's from a song. But just in case you don't know what the song is, it's a good phrase.
I'll end with my usual sign off, which is, of course, good night out there, whatever you are.
It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer